Hello, 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 and welcome to another One Lion of Code. I am One Lion. BitGamey is here. He was first. Ninja Gloppy came in second. Hello, Ninja Gloppy. Hope you're having a great day. Then there was Mars, and Dukesoft, and DC Aggie. Hello, Banana, Banana, Banana. And also Banana. Hopefully you can hear me okay. It looks like you can. I am getting audio for myself. I need to toggle everything to monitor off and then monitor and output because I didn't have my headphones connected when I opened OBS. And there were a lot of things that happened on the computer this morning. I didn't reformat over the weekend. I wanted to, but I was lazy. But the desire was there. So, welcome to Monday. I hope you're having a great start of your week. For those of you that start your week on a Monday. And for those of you that this is somewhere in the middle of your week or the end of your week, I hope that's going well as well. Also, hello, Darren. Marcel Marceau never had audio problems. Really? And why is that? I'm trying to go to desktop so that I can show the progress that we're at, and I've gone back and forth yet again so many times, not making up my mind. Shrugs. So I don't know. I'm struggling with making a decision on which direction to go and sticking with it. Actually, that's kind of a lie. I'm making decisions just fine on which way to go, and then I start going that direction, and then when I'm pretty close, go left. When I'm pretty close to finishing it, I decide let's do something else instead because I don't like this approach. So that's my whole life, says Darren. No, go right, says Ninja Gloppy. I will always go forward. Going back will get me nowhere. What? So this is what we talked about on Wednesday's stream. And I finished it up on Thursday. What? How do you do days? How do days work? Hello, C Films. I'm doing great. So we talked about modifying the lab lot. Well, the first thing that I tried was creating a dialog that the user would configure the lab and lot up here. But that really didn't make sense. It makes more sense for them to go ahead and use the field mapper flyout for everything that has to do with mapping, including the automatic lab lot assignment. So then I'm like, all right, let's figure out how to customize the field mapper. So we created that whole functionality for being able to supply a specific component that you create in place of any of the components that the core library uses. We only did the field mapper editor. And so we did that. And now we have the ability to customize the field mapper editor in such a way that the only thing that I'm really customizing is a single row item when that row item is either lab, which means that nothing will get printed out because I'm combining that with lot, or it's lot, in which case I want to display that this is the lab lot configuration for them to click on this button. No, where are my styles? Did I not do a pool? I don't think I did a pool. So anyway, once we get the styles, it'll look slightly better. Still not completely there, but that's okay. We'll refresh. So now they have this dialog that pops up for them to customize the place that they get the lot from, but in order to use the auto lot number identifier sequencer, whatever it's called, they need to specify the lab. So I said, why not just configure the lab information here? Right now I have it set to only, man, this is missing something, because there should be the edit button here. All of these styles should be updated. I need to double check that that was fully committed, but so they'll put in the lab here, they'll choose the lot, the field that is going to be used to determine the next available lot number, configure any transformations to that field, save it, and then it'll use that for the lab and lot. The next step that I need is to output that the lot is going to be determined. It's not going to use just the field that they picked. It's going to be determined based off of the next available lot number. So yeah, okay. Catching up on chat. So C Films came in, said, how are you doing? I'm doing great. And so I I don't know that I'm gonna respond to you asking how I'm doing, because it kind of seems like you're not really asking. That's okay. You're allowed. You're allowed. Never go straight ahead when you can go gaily forward, or LGBTQ++. LGBTQY and all the other letters plus. If you're a queer gamer, grammar. I think you meant to put gamer and grammar, GRAMMAR, at the same time. Anyway, just add the alphabet and move forward. Queer programmer, queer grammar. Got it. Gamers Unite, says BitGamey, with a big pride paw rainbow. Kawaii desu. Sounds like a lot of work. It is. But now that I've done this, right. Before we now that I've done this, let me make sure that I do actually have the latest code running, that we are rebuilt with all of the new information, that I have fully committed on Thyrovius, and there's nothing stuck in local. Estoy loco. It's weird that it's weird that Autoline didn't do the stream announcement on Discord. Hey, it's working right out the box. That's really nice to see, because I didn't want to get frustrated by that today. Thyrovius is who I'm looking for. Thyrovius. You. Dude. Open up. Oh, itchy belly. Pew pew pew. Dang, that's so close. If I gave you the logic for it. Everything seems to be checked in. That's no good.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, me too. Let's hope that it's just a fluke. And it was because I did a poll after I started the app. And so this rebuild will make it work. Foin. F-O-U-I-N. No validators found in the system. Swagger's funny. It's yelling at me. Why is Swagger yelling at me? It should not be yelling. If you're going to put a message in the console, be a little more polite. It makes me want to not use fast endpoints. I wanted to close this. I wanted to open this. Loud noises! Oh my gosh. How dare Ninja Gloppy. Instabit, no. Please stop yelling. It's a fragile Monday. It is a fragile Monday. Anyone paying attention to energies, it's going to be pretty high coming in March and April. And then if you make it through April, you should be good to go. I mean, you're definitely going to make it through April, but it's going to be a tough time in April. Easiest way to say you're hungover. That's terrible. Thank you so much for your bits. Best bit on the internet. What's going on, Dukasoft? All right. That's going to do its thing. We're going to check to see if the new code is up-to-dated. A dancing gummy. Yay! And the answer is yes. Okay, so we can already tell because the styling here is correct. So when they configure the lab and lot, I give them instructions that say select the field that contains the lot reference. The field will be used to generate the lot number for each row in the data field. They will already potentially have a rule specified for the lab. And it will, oh, that's what I'm doing now. I'm working on reloading the lab and lot field references into this component so that we can do the modifications and stuff to that. Okay. But yes, I mean, that's where we're at. Now that I've done this, now that I see this pop-up where they fill in the lab and pick the lot and configure it, I'm kind of like, I don't really want that anymore. I kind of want the lab and lot to just be here and then come up with a clever way to indicate that the lot will be populated by the system. But I don't know. I don't know if that's a good idea. Oh, my skin is so dry, so itchy. Oops. Man, I hope you guys are having a ton of fun over on Clay's game. His stream interactive game is insane. If you haven't seen it, he's still doing development on it right now. It looks like a lot of fun. Dukesoft is saying, question, what do you call the guy that inputs all the data? Sir Labalot. Sir. All right, and then we get 2 dad jokes for the price of none. Dad joke number 1 from Otherbot says, my boss told me to attach 2 pieces of wood together. I totally nailed it. My finger, that is. And then the best bot says, I broke my finger at work today. Not related to the previous joke at all. On the other hand, I'm completely fine. It is kind of interesting that they tend to have similar similar jokes. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going this direction. I don't like it, but what I would need to do next is when the user clicks on View Edit Lab Lot, I want to restore the existing lab lot rules. And I started doing that, but I didn't have all of the information I needed for it, which is here. And so I commented a lot of it out. But essentially I want to restore the lot field mapping and the lab field mapping. So let's start with getting the table definitions and the specific definitions for the lab and the lot. Try get, actually, if there is a data file, then we don't have to worry about it. Try get table definition. Oof. I'm already running into roadblocks in my head. I don't want to keep going this direction. Okay, so we're going to get the lab data import state. Well, okay, here's the big thing. If the lab data file is null, or the lab data import state dot active data table is null. Yeah, I think we can just do it this way. If lab data file, oh no, we do want to do it this way. Then return base uninitialized. Love the shirt. I don't have a fancy zoom in like you do. Maybe if I get the camera eventually, because again, that is one that I was looking at. The one that you are using on your stream, which is awesome, by the way. So many cool things that you have on your stream. If you guys don't know Big Amy, definitely check out his streams. I'm not exactly sure if I saw a shout out for you earlier. There was one. But check out Big Amy's streams. He didn't stream today, but he said he'll be back tomorrow. Let's get rid of this. Donating blood today. Very cool. It's been long enough, but I don't know if I'm allowed to donate blood. I've been wanting to for a very, very long time, but because I lived in Germany between the years of 1984 and 19, I wasn't allowed to give blood. That's my alt channel. Bitfeedy. Oh, redeems feet cam. I totally missed that. I'm starting to get some Gundam eyebrows going on. I'm trying to keep them tamed. Just for you, though. DC Aggie says to Big Amy, your own? Yeah, don't think they'll accept mine either. Oh. Okay, so Big Amy said, yeah, I had the same issue, England, but they lifted the restriction now. DC Aggie was asking Big Amy if he was donating his own blood. Dark. Bar table definitions, aka coding with TD. Yeah. Actually, before we do coding with TD, since he's not here, let's do a shout out for Ninja Gloppy. Ninja Gloppy. Except that Dukasoft already did. Dukasoft, you're amazing. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for doing all the things that I forget to do. Anyway, shout out to Ninja Gloppy. Unreal Dev, I want to say. Extraordinaire. I've only ever lurked on your stream. Gamer. All of the above. All of the devs. DC Aggie says, lions don't tame their eyebrows. Lions don't tame much. I got this close to actually trimming my mane over the weekend. So I was going to reformat my computer. And while that was, Anna, you're so kind. Thank you so much. How was Avowed? Are you enjoying it? Are you having fun? I know the name of the person that did the score for it. It's really, really cool. Oh, I guess I'll wait to make sure. Oh yeah, you shouldn't be getting ads. Of course, you definitely can run away if you need to. But thank you so much for the raid. So I was going to start the reformat of my computer. The thing that ended up happening is the 10 terabyte spinny disk hard drive that I was using as my backup, or as what I was going to use for the backup, it's not being recognized by the computer. So I tried to do the firmware update. That literally took about 8 hours. Literally. And even after the update finished, no worries, no worries. Thank you so much for the raid. Really appreciate you, Anna. Yeah, if you guys do like the score, and of course, not sponsored, I do have a subscription to this person, and he might rub a lot of you the wrong way because he's a little, what's the word that he used? Oh my gosh, why can't I think of the word? Pretentious. It's a little pretentious. Is that a word? Anyway, Venus Theory. I have a lot of his Vital plugins. I have his, he made a sampler, a VST called Decent Sampler, and a whole bunch of presets for that. And Anna said, but during my dev stream today, I got account registration working with Auth0. Congratulations. But yeah, just check out some of his YouTube videos where he talks about the processes of making music and his own stuff. That's how I learned about this music industry lawyer, and I'm starting to learn a lot more about copyright law and all that stuff. And it's like, I want the music that I put out there to be freely available and accessible to everyone, and they can do whatever they want with it. But I don't want someone to take that music that I put out there, put a copyright on it themselves, and tell me that I'm not allowed to use it. That would be really annoying. And that's a thing that has happened to people. So anyway, he just has some really, really cool stuff. But he is a bit pretentious. Copyright law is a pain if you want to give some permission, but keep some others. I want to give all permissions, but I don't want to allow anyone else to copyright what I produce and tell me that I can't use it or other people can't use it anymore. That's all. Same with art, same with anything else that I might create. Beware of vanilla ices. Very much. And then Anna said to Dukesoft, after Dukesoft said redeems Anna quacking 24-hour stream. Heck no. We'll do that as a sub goal. Just quack for an entire stream. Oh my gosh. I've got bad news about generative AI then. Not necessarily. Yeah, like I said, that is one of the things that I'm somewhat keeping up with. You can copyright AI stuff still. There was a court that ruled in favor of some law blog article company, and they were like, well, you can't use AI for blah, blah, blah. And they're like, but we were actually specifically talking about this portion of it that is not copyrightable, but that doesn't extend to all generative AI content. That said, I'm planning on making my own. Um, Unless you're talking about, so like a GPL license with commercial restrictions for your art. No commercial restrictions either. Yeah, so I create it, AI learns from it, someone makes music using AI train on my music, that someone copyrights it. I don't get it. I mean, it's because this is my hobby. This is not my livelihood. Um, I understand the arguments, and this is definitely a topic I'm willing to discuss. I would love to do a Friday community day entire discussion on this, especially with artists, people that do this for a living, and the threat that AI is to their industry. For me, I'm doing it as a hobby. I'm learning using AI. So that's another thing. I am reproducing music that AI has generated. Definitely not crediting myself as the originator of the music. I'm doing what I hopefully should be doing. But even then, if it's an original work, if I put my time in, if I put my blood, sweat, and tears, the only thing that I don't want to happen is for someone else to claim it as their own work. But they can use it, modify it, make money off of it, whatever. Just don't prevent other people from doing the same. If it's something that I generated. I don't know. It's just me. The other thing is like to me it's like software, I guess. Um or information. I want to freely spread the knowledge that I have that I believe to be good knowledge, helpful to others, so that anyone can have access to it. If I come up with a very unique, patentable way to approach a software solution, I want everyone to have access to it. And I don't want someone else to come along and say, we've patented that approach. You can't use that in your game, in your software. And it's like, I would be very upset at that. But someone else using it, not knowing where it came from, especially, but also not claiming it as their own, just saying, I found this somewhere and I thought it was a good way to approach things. I've adapted it. I've made my changes to it. This is how I'm using it myself. But to prevent other people from being able to use that knowledge, that approach, that thing, I don't get it. Why would you? Why? Because money. We got to make money somehow. Oh, okay. Okay. That was a little mini rant, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. No, you're right. You're absolutely right, Darren. Um, there is a little bit more to it than just putting the little blurb that says, "Here's my Creative Commons copyright," because if someone does take me to court and be like, the material that you posted is violating my copyright of something that sounds almost exactly like that, you need to be able to prove that they had some way to access it before, like you were the first to post it on the internet, for example. Or you can pay the $30 to $100 to actually get a public domain copyright that says everyone is free to use this, and you can't sue me if you try to copyright this material, which is really dumb. Oh, anyway, there's a lot to it. A lot that I still don't understand either. But regardless, that said, later today, If all goes well and my computer cooperates, I'm not going to switch profiles this time. I'm just going to use this same exact profile, but I'm going to do a music stream where I am learning to do music production and mixing and mastering. And we're hopefully going to be able to do actual music production today. I've gotten some more practice over the past week. I have an approach that I'm liking, and it's going to be fun. Yes, absolutely yes. For example, here is a song that I am currently working on. Again, Suno was the originator. I put a prompt into Suno. It spit out music. I sequenced it in Fruity Loops, arranged it, organized it, and I'm in the middle of doing that. So where is that? I don't even know where I put it. Crap. Modified AI gen songs? No. Oh gosh. So about that, I have no idea where I put it. Oh wait. Oh wait. Yes, I do. Projects. But that's not to say that I'm not making my own music. So I'm using AI, as I mentioned before, as a tool to learn how to put things together. What are some patterns? What are some interesting things you can do with music? And then also getting a little bit outside the box, because there are some things that AI does that you don't expect in our current music that we listen to. Here it is. Okay, let me turn this down. And let's see if this will actually play. Yeah. And so these I don't have ducking on this. So these instruments here are ones that I was able to create using a tool called Vital. I love Vital. Vital is so much fun. I'm really, really excited about Vital. It's just this little 3 oscillator noise generator, and you turn knobs, you move things around, you make it do interesting things. Like this would be some kind of pluck-ish type of sound, which you're not going to be able to hear, but that's fine. So I created a whole bunch, and this main one is called some sort of 8-bit, or some amount of bits, I think is what I called it. It's on Thyrobius currently, and I haven't copied it over here yet. But I think I call it some amount of bits. And so this song still needs a lot of work to be mixed and mastered. But sequencing it was fun. Partial bits is a nice oxymoron. I like it. I like it. But yeah, learning a whole bunch of noise generation, sound engineering, noise generation, noise engineering, all the things that you can call it, has been a blast. And then using it to produce music, oh man, so good. Do I actually have one that I tried to do on my own? This is why I'm using AI to teach me currently. Like what people normally do, to my knowledge, is that they will take an existing track that someone else has created and try to recreate it themselves so that they can learn the arrangement part. They can learn how to mix. They can learn how to do the mastering steps. And instead of using someone else's work directly, I'm using Suno, which is still indirectly using someone else's work because it was trained on all of the available media on the internet at the time. In the open internet, I should say, which is how they get away with a lot of stuff. But I'm just doing it in a way that I am not playing a DMCA not free piece on stream while I'm trying to reproduce it. Okay. But yeah, this is my songs. This is why I am. Oh, wait. Is it in rendered then? Audio. Rendered. Huh. I wanted to show the main reason why I am learning from AI because I have a whole bunch of old music that I wrote in like 2001, 2002. Fancy clicks. Um, where did I put it? Other voice recordings. My songs. Modified. No, I don't have it rendered anymore. I must have deleted it. I'm not very proud of it, but one day. Anyway, Fresh Meat is here. Hello, Fresh Meat, I think. Um, hello, Fresh Meat. Hope you're having a great day. DC Aggie says, studios, the capital of music. They control the means of production. I don't exactly know what that means, though. But yes, the goal is to learn so that I can eventually be able to create my own original music, which is inspired music. Okay. Everyone was greeting Freshy. I am, thank you. And yes, Fresh Meat. Oh, I know. We talked before. We've talked many times before. I just didn't see your name anywhere, and I'm like, they're greeting you, but I didn't see you come in. I'm muted? No, did my audio cut out? I shouldn't have cut out. Oh, you have me muted. Wait, what? No. Shouldn't have. It was probably because I closed Vital and it freed up the sound driver. Let's hope that was it. Okay. Where were we? Peru? Yeah, we were somewhere in Peru. So my next thing that I wanted to do is when this opens to grab the existing lab and lot mappings, restore them into the dialogues copy of it. And the reason that I'm using a copy of it instead of the original object reference is because I have save and cancel, which are essentially apply and discard. So we are looking for let's just do a new collection of. That's not a new collection of, that is a new table definition. Oh, poop. All right, Freshie, thank you so much for being here and for lurking. Gotta make a bunch of phone calls and finish all this paperwork. Yay, paperwork. I love bureaucracy. Here. Blech. Yeah, peopling. Speaking of peopling, okay, I was starting this story. I was going to do the computer reformat, had the hard drive thing happen, But what I was planning on doing is while the files were copying over and the computer was backing up, I was going to cut my hair. So then I did the thing that I said I was going to do, which is I went back through my YouTube video history to see how short my hair should be if I want it to be this long in 4 months. Because I have a place that I need to be at where there are people in 4 months. And my hair is a lot easier to do stuff with when it's like this than when I buzz it all the way down, which is weird. It's just that it looks very, very odd to me when I do that. Okay, we'll get to this in a second. So anyway, then I was like, okay, I see how much hair to cut off because I'm really, really good at this. I'm at work for another hour and I'm tired, anxious, and without anything to do. This sucks. That's not cool. If you feel like backseat driving me, you're welcome to. Yeah. Or talk about what you're doing at work or not doing at work or want to be doing at work. Haircutted poll. Read my mind dealing with bureaucracy today. Happy Monday all, by the way. Hello, Napalm. Congratulations. Again and again and again. How does it feel? How does it feel? How do you feel right now? I'm listening while staring at code. Hopefully it convinces people I'm doing something. Oh. I'm always able to find something to do. Thanks, I feel relieved to have another 3 years out of the way. I mean, it's definitely a good feeling, but then just having that looming, gonna have to do this again in 3 years. Maybe something will change by then and you won't have to do the full exam. How about this? I keep half interrupting myself. So anyway, I figured out how much hair based on how much it looked like I had at the time 4 months ago. And I was like, okay, I can do this. It looks like I need to cut off about 3 to 4 inches of hair. It's like 10 inches long now. 3 to 4 inches of hair, and it'll grow that much in the next 4 months. Because it's been a year since I've cut my hair. A year. I thought that my hair grew back in like 4 to 6 months to this length. But no, it's been a year. I think it was like a year and a half actually. Like October of 2023 was when I last cut my hair, I think. So anyway, I started to come up with a plan on how to cut it so that it's even all the way around. I cut my own hair, by the way, if you couldn't tell. I was going to tie a whole bunch of rubber bands around locks of hair that are all at the same length and then just cut them off at the rubber bands. This is someone who's no good at the physical world trying to do this. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I really don't want to do this. So I actually considered making an appointment at a barber so that I could ask them to trim off 3 to 4 inches of hair. Flovey! This really does suck. But that sounds like it was a cool idea though, doesn't it? It sounds like it should have worked. But yeah, I think bust out the bowl. I mean, I could do a bowl cut and it wouldn't look like a bowl cut on me because of, I don't know if you can see all this, but this is curls. It goes poof. So no matter what I do, it's just gonna poof up. It's just that at this length, my hairstylist is able to put it up in a, I'm gonna call it a warrior bun, not a man bun. Even though that's what it is, it's a man bun. But don't tell anyone that. Don't tell anyone that I admitted to that. If you do, I'll cut you. Try get field mappings. Clipped. You can do whatever you want. It's so weird. I'm usually not very. I was reading warrior when I was saying very. Warrior bun it is, noted. I'm usually not very vain when it comes to my appearance. I mean, you guys see how I look on stream. I'm pretty unkempt. I either put the 1-inch trimmer on the trimmer, the 1-inch comb thing on the trimmer, and just run it through my hair to get it all down so that it's taken care of. But recently I've been a little bit more vain, and I don't know what that is. It's not in my personality to really care about how I look. But because this actually ended up looking okay, I'm like, well, now I want to keep it because I like how it looks. And if I'm approving of it, that means that I'm noticing it, which is just making me vain. I'm even starting to think there are songs. You're so correct. The little so-and-so is going live. Watch closed dialogue. That pops up when you're already watching a stream feels rude. I'm not sure why, but it does. Did it say that someone that you're already lurking on is, or watching their stream, went live while you're watching their stream? That's weird. Let's hope Microsoft is an open book quiz. So all of the Microsoft recertifications are. Yeah, they're pretty nice. They're pretty easy. Speaking of, I wonder when my 1 year is up. March or April? Okay. You're gonna be field mappings. No, not far. Dang it. I'm paying attention. I like that on Netflix. Warrior Fun? No, wait, that was Warrior Nun. So I started watching it and I liked it for a little bit, but I got tired of it pretty fast. I don't know what's going on with me. I'm being like extra picky and I don't know. This kid needs to calm down. That's all I know. I have a current A+ certification and learned on, I don't know what that means. Life hack, be born early and get a bunch of certs back when they were lifetime. On a 4x86. That might be technology that I don't know about. Pentium. A Pentium processor back in the day. Big Gamey says, I'm watching Cassandra at the moment, a German show about a smart home AI that goes rogue. I think I watched that. It was either that, there were like 3 or 4 shows that came out around the same time that had a plot that was kind of like that. And we've watched at least 2 of them. Kind of enjoyable to me. Napalm says to DC Aggie, let me hop in my DeLorean. That way I can do your life hack. Okay. This is gonna work, right? So if we try this again, I like those types of shows. I watched Megan Fox in Subservience, which wasn't terrible. Another cool one, if you haven't seen it, is Bodies. It was kind of fun. I think it was from the makers of Dark, which I'm pretty sure you've seen Dark. I think we talked about it before. Do you let them hit the floor though? Do I let the bodies hit the floor? The bodies hit the floor? Let the bodies hit the floor? What are you getting at? Dark was great. Yeah. Cool. So you have seen it. I loved it. That one was definitely a ride. Really enjoyed it. I started with that but lost interest. Is that where they keep finding the same body in different time periods? Yep. Yeah, and it all ties back. It's not nearly as good as Dark, or even the ship one. Like, I lost interest in the ship one too, also from the makers of Dark, I think. Unless the ship one was the only one that was from the makers of Dark. Anyway, I had the dude from Dark. It's called like 1918. It was a year, right? The name of that show. I have no idea what you're talking about, Corbett. We'll see how long I can keep that up. Oh my. Anyway, we're gonna check to see if this thing worked. Did you actually relaunch? I think it relaunched. I closed the folder that I had open because I was looking for the music. But yeah, I'm kind of at a show drought. Because like I've seen progressively cooler and cooler shows. That now my standard is pretty high, and it's like I used to be able to enjoy just about anything, but now it's like I don't have quite the same, and it's not necessarily patience, because what else am I doing with that time? Like right now, I guess music. So I don't really watch too many shows as it is, but regardless, when I do end up watching a show, I find myself being like, okay, first 15 minutes, you haven't caught my interest, moving on. It's gotta be something special, like Arrival, that movie was amazing, or Interstellar, or screwed up crazy one. New Dune movie was terrible. I didn't mind it, but it wasn't great, in my opinion. Hello, Stone Eagle. You walk away for a moment, and before you know it, you get raided. Totally outrageous. Yeah, you got raided here. Yeah, I'm assuming. Welcome in. Oh yes, Stargate, the original Stargate. And even the show, the series was good with MacGyver. I mean, I haven't really seen too much of the universe of it. I've seen a few episodes of Stargate SG-1, but the thing that happened, okay, I'll be honest with you. The thing that happened is I found out how much more interesting and unbelievable real life potentially is. And it's like movies are a watered down version of what I'm experiencing in real life right now. And usually you're watching movies and TV shows to kind of get that boost of let's go somewhere that is out there, that is so different than what we're experiencing. But I'm experiencing some really interesting things that movies and stuff are not very creative when it comes to the the fantasy of it all, because it's not really fantasy, and it's not done as well as real life is done, in my opinion. Hey, it worked! Look at that! So, we already had a lab lot configured, and now we are loading that lab and lot configuration. Is it actually saving it though? When I do this, is it saving it back to the field mapper? It is. So if we looked at our preview, then the lot will be the initial amount. Awesome. So that part's working. So we want this to be back at analysis batch. Son of a batch. We want it to be interpolate. Okay. So here's our next step. Right now it looks like our lab and lot are, or at least the lot is an invalid configuration because the lot is only allowed to be 4 characters. However, lot has a special rule, which is that it is determined by the application. It's assigned by the application. We still have the question of when do we assign it? So my answer is going to be, we immediately do a lookup for the lab and this value, the field that they're choosing, to see if there's an existing lot number for it. If there is, give us that back. If there isn't, we're going to create a mapping rule. Whatever that is. I guess the thing that we've been watching recently that's kind of just fun, that doesn't really have much of a point, is White Lotus. We've seen the first 2 seasons, and it's just, it's a mind flayer. It's kind of fun. So Napalm is saying, Stargate movie was way better. There, I said it. I loved it. Kurt Russell saying, send my regrets to King Tut. It's whole. Lives in my head rent free. Yeah, the movie was great. I love Spader. Oh my gosh, what's his first name? David? James? Oh my gosh. Stargate. Spader. It is James. I really like him as an actor. We recently watched The Secretary too. I'll say that quietly, but I loved him in that too. You should see Less Than Zero if you haven't already seen it. That was one of those things where the first time I saw it, I was probably too young to be watching a movie like that. RDJ, James Spader, Andrew, what's his name? Andrew Garfield? I don't know which Andrew you would be talking about. Saw it at like 13-ish. '87. Oh my gosh. Such good years. Andrew McCarthy. Yes, it is now in my list. RDJ's first feature film? Maybe. He's been in some odd stuff. We watched his repertoire 4 or 5 years ago, and he's been in some odd stuff. This needs to go on my stream ideas, though. James Spader, RDJ, Andrew McCarthy. Less than 0. Okay, we'll look it up. We'll see if it's on Just Watch and add it to our watch list. Jamie Gertz. I don't really know. I mean, I probably would know them if I saw them now, but I don't really know Andrew McCarthy or Jamie Gertz. By name, that is. Maybe by face. DC Aggie said to Napalm, didn't stop Joss Smith from, probably Joe Smith, from making stuff up. Google Reformed Egyptian. Because Napalm said to DC Aggie, oh, the movie made me want to be an Egyptologist until I realized that it is hard to do in Western Pennsylvania. Maybe, maybe not. I know someone from New York that is an Egyptologist. I know an Australian that is a... I say no. These are people that I've watched from a distance, never engaged in. Y'all need to be watching. Y'all need to watch Thrashin'. I don't care how straight you are. The older brother from the Goonies will have you swooning. Well, I'll put that on my list too to look up. No guarantees that I'll watch it because, again, it's got to be a movie that I'm just not gonna immediately. From Goonies. Like, if it's anything like Lost Boys, then yeah, I'll probably enjoy it. Romeo and Juliet set in the 80s. Social among skaters. Man, I love this song. Okay, we did good. We made one step forward. Got existing lab lot mapping rule. Okay, so now what we need to do is when the user chooses the field for lot, if both lab and lot are populated, do a lookup into the database for an existing record in the lot reference table that we haven't created yet for an existing lot, an assigned lot. Brain, keep up. Write notes. There you are. Test name, field mapper, dockable toolbar, mix and sass. Wait, where's my lot reference picker notes? There it is. Lot reference field. Okay. Okay. So many ideas, so many thoughts. When the lab and lot are both, there's an L in both, populated, do the lookup for an existing lot in the database, matching the selected lab lot criterion, references. Speaking of movies, I'm finally done with my struggle to display subtitles properly. What a pain to deal with, BTT positioning properties while also implementing an accessibility configurations. What kind of app? Forgive me for not knowing / remembering if you've told us before. I'm terrible at this kind of thing. Okay, so in the dialog mapper, when the lab is updated, it's a custom video player that I use in my media server app. Example No Mercy TV, item 5 in the playlist. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, in the playlist. Where's the playlist? Playlist. 5. Ow. Need to enable subs. Why is it V? Everything else has its C. Okay, so you're just testing the positioning at the moment of different places to put it. It's VIC. Oh, VLC. Sorry. So the player itself is a VLC player, some kind of plugin or something. I won't spend too much time on this because I do need to get work done. I usually reserve this for Fridays, but I'm interested in seeing where do I go to see the actual page that has the markup for the video player. Use hls.js and VTT player, but the rest is all self-made. I'm looking for HTML. Man, I don't know how to read this. I see lots of TypeScript like this is a JavaScript library, but I don't see where your UI sample is. Oh, wow. And you're doing all of the rendering using JavaScript? There is no HTML? I mean, HTML aside from configuring HTML, creating elements and stuff using JavaScript. You can choose to use static HTML and attach events to it, but you didn't, I'm guessing. Because I'm not seeing any just regular HTML markup. I'm seeing a lot of stuff that looks like it's modifying HTML elephants, modifying HTML elephants in the DOM using TypeScript, using JavaScript only. Yeah, okay, that's really cool. So I think like you would be able to have a lot more complex UI because you're able to control it using code a lot easier. That's really cool. I also have a dedicated UI for the TV. I mean, for TV. Cool. Very cool. Well, definitely feel free to, if you want us to deep dive into it and you want to talk through it, definitely feel free to join a community day, which are on Fridays. My keyboard just stopped. It's not going to let me. Where we talk about anything that you're currently working on, you're interested in, you are just passionate about. But I got to continue doing work because I'm on the clock. I'm also done with my first bottle of water. It was like my third today. Okay. Oh, no, you're good. You're good. The boss is me. I need to get paid by the contractor. By the contract holders. Yells focus from back. Dang it, DC Aggie. I was getting somewhere, but now I just have your voice ringing in my head. And he's like, well, that's not a bad thing, is it? How dare. App bind. What's going on, keyboard? Apparently I pushed the input switch. App bind after. Oh my gosh, I can't even type this anymore. Can I quit for the day? No, I already took Friday off last week, and I'll be taking I'm gonna tell you this now, not that I'm gonna expect you to remember it, but in July for a week, maybe 2 weeks, I won't be streaming because of situations. So you remember how I went to Mexico either last year or the year before? I think it was last year. Yeah, there was another trip planned. And it's like, oh my gosh, do we really need to do this every year? Can we just have a year where my wife and I get to choose what we do for ourselves by ourselves with no one else imposing anything? Anyway, what I am doing is making a handler for bind after the whatever this is called, the lab is input, we're going to handle lab changed. And that's going to be down here. Value transformation changed. I don't know what you are. That's this. Okay, so that's going to be a thing too. Private has probably going to be a void. Avoidable. For the record, I do not sound like Samuel Jackson, Johnny Five Alive, Optimus Prime, and Kermit the Frog had a love child. You don't. It's pretty specific, so it's almost like someone has told you that, or you feel like you sound that way. I don't know if I know Johnny Five Alive. Short Circuit. Oh my gosh. Jeez, man. I am so out of touch. I don't know the names of things. I mean, I should know it. It's just, I don't remember these things. I don't keep stuff in my head. They usually get memory dumped. And if I do end up recalling something, it's coincidental. It's rarely on purpose. I mean, the stuff that I'm making room for and holding on to are esoteric type things. Did you know that FFmpeg is capable of ripping optical media and decrypt it? Got that working yesterday, so my software can now finally start doing what it's advertising. No need for make MKV. Yay! And who else did you say? I know the rest of them. Yeah, I know the rest of them. Okay, so if the lab changes, we're gonna put a debounce on this because what I'm planning on doing, like right now, I don't know if you noticed, but my bind event for the lab entry is on input, which means every single time you type something on the keyboard, including backspace, including spacebar, it's going to fire the bind event. And at bind after will get fired. So I don't want this lookup to happen on every keystroke when you're in the lab field. The other thing that we want in the lab field is a max length of 3. So that'll be helpful. I fire it 10 times each keystroke. Exactly. So what we're going to do instead is create a debounce timer. I'll put it up here. Private system.timers.timer. And the reason that I'm specifying system.timers.timer is because we already are referencing system.threading, and there is a timer in system.threading, which is not the one we want to use. I've heard of another timer that I think I should be using, but I don't know how to use. So if you know about it, please let me know. And the reason why is because this system.timers.timer, which I'm going to call my lookup debounce timer, it's going to be a new timer with a 250 millisecond delay. So every keystroke, if you pause for 250 milliseconds, that's when it's going to fire. But have you timed your timers to make sure your timer is timing correctly? I know for a fact that they aren't, because even with the interval specified here, it still has the extra lag from needing to process the request. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. On key press, which is on change. We're going to stop the timer and restart it. And that's all this thing is going to do. Then we're going to have a cancellation token source. And this is going to be our lookup CTS, which is nullable. So what's going to happen is when our timer times out, we're going to do the lookup, and we're going to configure that after doing all of this stuff, let's say. Auto reset fault. Well, if we're going to do auto reset Copilot, then we're going to do it when we instantiate the object. The only thing that I want to do here is set up the callback for what happens when the timer elapses. Okay, first thing that we're going to do is we're going to cancel any current requests, create a new token source, and then do the request and capture the token, and then do the request to pass to the method that is going to do the actual lookup. Disfortunately, that method, because it's going to be a HTTP lookup and or just a direct database check, depending on if we're running on server or not, it needs to be asynchronous. Oh, well, I want it to be asynchronous. But if you notice here, this is void method. People say don't use async void. Bad idea. Yeah, so periodic timer, that's the one that I think handles asynchronous, but I haven't figured out how to use it in this context, because periodic timer is async or an async. Yes, all of the above. I want it to be an async method. So periodic timer, though, that will just be something that is constantly auto resetting. I don't think there is a stop and start on it. So I wasn't able to use it the way that I was wanting to use it. Okay. So we need the, wait, where are you up here? I like having all of my life cycle events together. And just because I have such a small window since stream, I'm going to put it in a region. And I know some of you, I know what some of you are thinking, and I haven't forgotten, and I will do it. I will do it. You will remind me still before I get too far to do it. Let me just write the method for private task do lookup with the cancellation token. Stop. Okay, so the thing that you guys reminded me of, thank you so much. Oh, after we call that method, which is await invoke a, or I guess this doesn't need to be on the main thread. So this really could be fire and forget almost. The thing is that before we do any of the UI changes, we're going to need to switch to the UI thread. So again, on server, we do have a multi-threaded application. So that's when it's going to matter the most, is we're calling this from an event that timed out, a timer that times out and fires an event, which means that we're going to be on whatever thread happens to be available at the time that that event timed out, which is not necessarily the UI thread, which is most likely not going to be the UI thread. Yes, yes, please, Dukasoft. I would like another cup, but I'm done with my coffee for the day, which is sad. So sad. Okay, thank you for the reminder though. You're still reminding me that I need to make sure that we are implementing iDisposable if we weren't before. But because we're registering an event here in our lifecycle on initialize, we should remember to deregister the event so that when this thing is disposed, our timer isn't still running, and we don't have trying to access a disposed object errors. So we unsubscribe or deregister or whatever you want to call this. I'm sure it has a official term. We tell the timer to stop and we cancel any lookups. Nope, we cancel any lookups. And then we dispose the cancellation token in the timer. Nice to clean up this. Okay, so that is that portion of it. So now the do lookup. The issue with our do lookup is we don't have a database table that is storing this information yet because I still haven't decided how that's going to look. Summon a biscuit. Hello, Thindle. Welcome in. Happy Monday Day. Haha, I got one. I got one. You can rest, Dukasoft. You can rest for this one. Await coffee brewer. Brew async. Oh man, you started a sub process. Look at it go. Took a while, but the event message queue eventually went through. The Duka can never rest. Dukasoft is best bot. Oh dear. Hey, other bot, what happened? Wait, no, isn't it your bot is supposed to say something and then other bot says good bot? Yeah. Got it. Awesome. How are things today, my lovely friends? Asks Thindle. I can tell you from me, things are going well. I'm still at odds with the direction that I'm going and feeling like I want to strip all of this out and just keep the lab and lot directly in place and then just add all of these extra rules down the pipeline, but we're just going to keep going. So let's go ahead and create the method stubs, even though we don't have a database to query yet, or a database table to query yet for this. We can at minimum set up our application logic so that we can then implement the server table and other information that we need. So what we're doing is as soon as we have our timer timed out, which is also going to happen when we change the selected field. We're going to wait until after the update. After the updates happen. Put you there. Oh, and we'll do this first. Right. Okay, so we'll stop the debounce timer. We will, in case there's one already running, we'll change the field. And this could be the case like if someone is arrowing through a select list. And then we'll start the timer after doing this step of validating the results after they've selected something. Hello, Core. True. That's a good idea. Well, except that I am kind of splitting it up. So I'm stopping it first, doing some stuff, and then starting it again, not just restarting. But that is a good thought. I could have done that had I kept doing stop and start. Yeah, so like this one could be replaced with restart, but it's the only place that this happens. DC Aggie says, I miss IRC. Agreed. Which is actually, I don't, which is a silly thing to miss since it's still around. I guess what I really miss is my college days when IRC was a big part of my online life. True, I do miss Center for the Easily Amused. I told you about that when I said my life story last stream. Hello, Famazon. Did I pronounce that correctly? I'm new here. Are you coding an application for a client or is this a side project? This is a client application. So I am a .NET developer running my company called Automated Realms, and I'm working for this place called the Rocky Mountain National Wildlife Refuge. Rocky Mountain National Wildlife Refuge. And so the site here, the location, is just outside of Denver. It used to be the Rocky Mountain Arsenal. It was a place where chemical weapons were manufactured for one of the wars back in 1940s. We ended up not using the chemical weapons, or they ended up not using the chemical weapons, so they needed to dispose of them. What they did is broke them up into their components, took the volatile chemicals and buried them underground, which caused a whole bunch of environmental hazards and disasters and stuff. So the EPA was like, you need to clean that up. And they did, became a Superfund site. They had all of these documents that were created and that needed to be maintained and managed, and constant reports to EPA and other environmental agencies. And so here in 2025, all of that has been cleaned up. And so we're at the working herd or herdly working. Nice. So now the Rocky Mountain Arsenal, which is now called the Rocky Mountain National Wildlife Refuge. And we are a place that has a million different species of birds and deer. We have some bison and fishing stuff and archery range. It's just become a pretty cool little community area with trails and nice places to be and see. Burrowing owls all along this area. Oh man, we finally got to see some burrowing owls in the real. They're so kawaii. So anyway, the applications that I work on are ones that are used for maintaining the records. So we have a document management system that has all of the documents that were generated from 1960 something until now. Those all get stored in this database. They get OCR'd and indexed, and so they're searchable. We have applications for knowing where all of our wells are, where we do the sampling from, so that we take water and soil samples and air samples and send them to a lab. The lab does analysis on them to make sure that any of the analytes we're looking for, arsenic, mercury, all of them, all of the different chemicals that could pose a threat to downstream people, which water flows northwest here. So it goes in this direction. And so all of this area used to have a lot of birth defects, land issues, lots and lots of really bad stuff that happened back in the day. And so it's all cleaned up. We have water treatment facilities, apps that we maintain, collect the information from those treatment facilities as well as water flow levels, as well as spot checking the land itself to see if there are signs of things that shouldn't be there, as well as wells. True. So I maintain about 7 web applications. I always forget what the count is. dev.azure.com. permits. So let's count again, because I'm always going to forget. 1, and I'm only going to count the apps that are currently in use. So 1, 2, this is the one that I'm working on. 3, 4, although this one doesn't really need to be up anymore since we won the contract again. 4, 5, this is part of the one I'm working on. 6, 7, this is going to get pulled into, this is a VB.NET WinForms application. Or maybe I turned it to C#. It's probably a C# WinForms application by now, but it's going to get pulled into the chain of custody application because it's part of that workflow. What am I up to? 7. This already got pulled into water management. Water management was also a .NET WinForms application. It's now a Blazor app. So 8, 9 applications. And then a user management utility that I use for managing our users. And then a component library, all of our databases. So we have a lot of databases. We have a lot. Every single one of these projects represents a database. And so the different applications connect to one or more of these databases. And that's why they're all in a shared project, but each in their own repo. Yeah, so that's what I do. I modernize legacy applications, line of business applications. I make them smarter, I make them run better. And at least that's what I tell myself. And yeah, we have a great time doing .NET development here. What, now that I've said all that, do you do, Famazon? Welcome in. Hope you're having a great day. Thindle said to DCAG, and if you want to know more about the current application that I'm working on, I can tell you that too. Thindle said to DC Aggie, my last stint with IRC was about 8 or 9 years ago when I had a quickie. We don't need to know about that, Thindle. Oversharing. When I had a quick stint as a trader in the so-called scene. They're still on there behind a couple of layers of certificates and encryption. Thindle then said, I really love the thought processes that must have happened at the arsenal. We have stuff that we created to kill people. It's biological and hella toxic because that was the whole point. It's just buried in the ground. What's the worst that could happen? Yeah, I'm sure there are Army regulations that indicate how to dispose of hazardous chemicals, and part of it was bury it. Bury it under caps and covers. Reg said to Thindle, there's a number of places like that in Colorado. The Lowry landfill is an example, surplus or Superfund site as well. Yeah. Isn't Pueblo in Colorado too? Puerto Rico, Pueblo Chemical Depot. Yeah, it's in Colorado also. So we have records for pretty much all of the Superfund sites around Colorado. That's what CMA stands for. I'm sure it's in one of our acronyms sheets. Amazon says, I currently study in computer science here in Denmark. It's quite different from America's computer science degree. I'm currently 4 months into my study, and it's been a blast. That's so cool to hear. I love hearing that. Thindle says, greetings, fellow Nord. That's awesome to hear. I love to hear that you are having fun with it. I struggled hard with computer science. I went to university for computer science as well, in the US though, and I didn't get it. I failed a lot. I pretty much failed my first 2 years. I got poor grades in all of the undergrad courses for the next 2 to 4 years. And then I finally decided to double down my efforts and just get the damn degree. So once I decided to do that, I made it through. I graduated, and I didn't really learn how to do software development, but I did learn integrity and and determination and self-respect and a whole bunch of other useful things, and also how to become an alcoholic, but that's neither hither nor thither. I had an alternative approach to computer science. I just didn't do it and went into the workforce instead. Yeah, and that's a path. It's not a path I think I could have taken, because I needed the lessons I learned, the social lessons I learned at university. I hate to say it, but yeah, most of the software development that I've learned now is self-taught. They didn't even teach .NET at university. So that's what's missing for me. Integrity, I have no idea. If you think it is, it is. Napalm says to Thindle, did I? Information's... Oh dear. Did I? Period. Just, did I? It's not a question. Oh, ditto. Okay. I was like, did I? Did I? Ditto. Information science and technology degree. Integration and application work with a programming focus. American degrees deliberately make it hard for the first 2 years. This is to weed people out. I had the same issue in CS, EE, and math. I just don't think it's a very good system, the way that it's currently structured. It's, again, when everything is money driven, it's really not about the students. That needs to change, like this year. I don't want to write sorts all the time. Yes, true. True. Cried for life, says Thindle. How does modernizing a legacy system process go? Okay, good question. We can definitely talk about this. So I've done this for a long time. Quick background, I think I can say this quickly. Quick background is that I was working in a human resources office for a long time and just doing office automation. I was writing macros for VBA, using VBA for Excel and Access, and making pretty much full-on applications using Microsoft Access. Database-backed applications where there was a Microsoft Access file sitting on a server on a shared drive, and everyone else got a client-side version of the exact same file that had UI that all linked to tables in that share. Anyway, yeah, you get the picture. So going from that to doing actual software development work was fun. But what I found out in the process of doing it is that I love taking existing systems, using VBA macros and stuff, taking existing systems and workflows and automating them. That's what I had a passion for. That's what I knew I wanted to do with my life. And this was while I was at university, making a mess of my life. So after I graduated, I moved with my job to Missouri and did more of the same. And I was like, wait, I thought that I was going to come here to do software development using Visual Studio, because I had just learned a little bit of ASP, not .NET at the time, not yet. It was just ASP Classic. And I learned a little bit about that. I went to headquarters, did some work with them, added some functionality to one of the HR systems, and then went back to my life as a human resources specialist, reading and rating resumes, which is, ugh. Anyway, I'm not going back there. So when I finally got this job, which was in 2017, I was doing modernization. And so the modernization steps that happened were they told me we have all of these applications that are currently JSP applications. This is what that looked like. All of these were JSP applications to start with, except for three of them. Four: DDMS, DDMS tools, water management, and S-Track, aka treatment plants, and S-Track. Those were in VB6. So the web apps, they needed to be .NET products, or they needed to be Microsoft applications. So in order to convert them, and I had this much time too, in order to convert them, the modernization process was, let me take a look at the existing sites. I will use as much of, like, the cool thing is that they used MVC pattern when they were doing their Java applications. So I had things that would translate to the Microsoft MVC template. So I had these things that were controllers, even though they are not controllers. These are terrible. We're terrible. We don't have to do them anymore. It's fine. Everything's fine. No more trauma. Why am I bringing up past trauma? Yeah. So anyway, I took a lot of the same logic that they had. I pretty much just lifted and shifted the UI. I took the HTML, moved it over to .cshtml views with controller backings that were kind of structured like this. And so it really was just a matter of how can I turn the Java controller logic into C#, as well as I had just been experimenting with, at the time, Entity Framework. So doing the database calls through Entity Framework instead of through DAO or ADO. Or SQL client or anything like that, or ODBC connectors, or the stuff that I was used to using, I was now learning Entity Framework. So, wait, this is weird. Why do you have Hermit's Connection Manager in here? What is, oh, wait, this is the converted apps. Oh my gosh, those are the MVC applications. What I meant to say was, luckily, they used this approach that still kind of resembled controller. So when I was saying ew just then, I was saying ew to my own code. But they were using these kind of controller type concepts. So that was my first conversion of the apps. That's what that is. These are the original apps. So I was turning these, the logic from these, into C#. And it was just a lift and shift. And by lift and shift, I mean that I took the code from Java, copy and pasted it into the C# relevant or sister type file, and converted the code from Java to C#. Followed the same logic, kept the same bugs. It was terrible. It was a really bad idea. But again, all of these applications needed to go from JSP to .NET within a year. And the previous development team, which was 4 people that were working here pretty much up until the day I was hired, were quoting about 4 years per app to convert. And I was like, I don't know about that. So anyway, I converted all of the applications from VB6 to VB.NET, and then from VB.NET to C# WinForms. And then I took the JSP applications from JSP to MVC, Microsoft MVC applications using .NET Framework 4.7.2. Changed all of the database calls and connections over to Entity Framework. And yeah, that was the end of the MVC journey. By the time I was at DDMS, which is our document management system, which was a VB6, which was a VB6 application, I was like, Blazor was just coming out, and I was like, this application would be perfect for Blazor. So we went from a VB.NET WinForms application to a C# WinForms application with an API backend that it connected to. Oh yeah, And then this was all on premises, and we were no longer able to be a data center, which means that we couldn't host our own apps locally. We couldn't have our own servers, nothing like that. So we had to come up with a solution for that. We ultimately decided to go to AWS, and we moved all of the apps to the cloud, another lift and shift, which was, let's just take what our server structure looks like locally, because I am not a systems admin. I'm not an architect. So let's set up, and then our systems admin wasn't a systems admin either. So let's set up our cloud solution to look like what we look like on premises, which means EC2 instances, one for test web apps and production database, one for production web apps and test database, one for the ArcGIS server, one for file storage. And it was just like, let's use as few EC2 instances as we could, but we're going to install full-on operating systems, full-on Windows servers on them, so that we can continue to maintain them the way that we were maintaining our local network. Because I didn't know of anything better. I didn't even know about Elastic Beanstalk at the time. So I was like really far behind in cloud technology. Still am. But the point is that we got all of these apps moved to the cloud. So now I'm like, all right, we're on DDMS. This is a desktop application, and we have a cloud solution for everything. Our database is no longer local. So a desktop app connecting directly to the database with the connection string in the desktop application does not make sense. Let's not do that. Let's put an API client out in the cloud that the desktop application can connect to, get all the data it needs, and still be able to do everything. Of course, this is a document management application. What that means is we're taking PDFs, scanning them in, or we're taking documents, scanning them into PDFs, doing OCR on them, making the file turn into a 200 megabyte file, and trying to upload that via an API call. I'm sure you can imagine where the struggles came in there. And yeah, but it's done. It got taken care of. We did it all. Then finally, we got that app converted to Blazor, converted as many of the other apps as I could with the time that I had. Terrible things happened at the workplace. I started really, really disliking every day of my life in that workplace. And so I got a job elsewhere. They're like, we want you back. While I was working at that elsewhere place, I got some experiences in that elsewhere place that were also kind of like hard lessons that I knew I was going to face. And so what ended up happening is that the Rocky Mountain National Wildlife Refuge got rid of the current contractor that was there for doing this software stuff, and hired just me. So the entire team that was doing the server maintenance, I had a junior developer for a little while, and they also absorbed the document tracking center into themselves, but we used to be from a different contractor, and they hired me directly, hired Automated Realms, I should say, directly. And so we're back there, and now I've been back there for about a year now, I think. And we've just been taking names and stuff with the applications. It's been a lot of fun. Okay, catching back up on chat. Mar says, it's fine. Everything's fine. My hair's only kind of on fire. Core said, actually, how far up do I need to go? DC, let's start with Darun. Nope, still further up than that. Man, I missed a lot of chat. I was talking way too much. Okay, let's start here. Napalm says, I don't want to write sorts all the time. That's the last thing I remember. Well, I guess I remember hearing CRUD for life. And then there was the question about how does modernizing a legacy app go? Again, for me, it was look at the original app, have the original app running. That way I can get CSS and HTML from the UI, and then structure my application. Well, now that I know how to structure my applications better because I've been working with them for a lot longer, structure my application first and then pull in the parts and pieces, discarding any of the parts and pieces that are no longer used. DC Aggie said, my education was in C++ and I've never used it professionally. Same. Mine was in Java, C, and C++. I took all three of those in my first year. And that was one of the reasons that I failed that first year. Having no object-oriented programming experience other than like on the side playing around with VB6 a little bit and VBA, which is not even close to the experience of writing Java and C and C++. But the only way that I've used Java professionally was reading code, but I could have done that being a C# developer. Napalm says, should have been ditto. Darun says, my university was useless. Spent 95% of my time learning junk. True. We had one module on APIs that was slightly helpful. Findle said, are they still talking about lexers and compiler design and stuff at computer science? Yes. 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 I remember asking someone that recently, and I think it might have been Good VJ, but it's still the same curriculum. It's still the same curriculum. Anyway, DCIQ says, my major is Major Business Information Systems, Management Information Systems, Relational Data Design, minor in Computer Science, though I'm not I'm just 3 math classes away from a dual major. Awesome. Awesome. My major was Computer Science, CS. So at the university I went to, it was all grouped under CIS, but it was CS, and CSIS. So information systems versus actual computer science, and I did computer science with a focus on database, relational data design, I guess, and a minor in business. President Not Sure said, I started out on the job making macros for Microsoft Access and VBA. Fun times though, wasn't it? I loved it. Simpler times, man, simpler times. It wasn't my main role, but it was something useful that was needed. And then getting it hooked up to PowerShell scripts was the next fun one. Getting it hooked up to actual databases using OLEDB connectors and ADO or DAO, depending on what you felt like at the time. Had a similar deal. We created a reporting tool, output in Office apps via Access 348 code module, says Reg. Man, they were such good times. And Core says, I've been a .NET developer since 2003. Yeah, I can't say that. I can say that I started, I said this before, my dad owned a Commodore 64 and I remember reading the manual and typing letters that the manual said to type, and then it made a ball bounce on the screen when I was like, I don't know, very young. And then when I was around 14 or 15 is when I started playing with VB6 and HTML and was like, this will be cool. And that was 1996, 97. 98, there was this creepy dude that was trying to help me out, actually. It was really cool. I don't even remember how we met, but his company is still around, apparently. He was making a chatbot, and he pretty much gifted me VB6 with the entire MSDN, like 6-disc library, which is like $1,000-something bucks. And so I got to have fun with that for a little bit. And then I started university in 2000 and had my first real software programming experience where everyone in my class had been doing C and C++ and Java since they were like 6 years old. I felt so behind. And it just, like, the concepts, the semicolons, the dotting off of text, like you do this, dot something. It looked a little bit like VB6, but you didn't get the IntelliSense. We used Notepad, we used BlueJ, we used Console for the compilers. It was a terrible experience for me. It was just bad times, but I stuck with it. Happy Monday, E to the 2i Pi. Sorry I did not say hello to you when you first came in. I did see you. I haven't seen your streams lately. I've been missing your streams. Hopefully I typed that correctly. Yes, e to the 2y pi. Mars was asking, do you ever go back to old programs you wrote and look at the code and go, WTF was I thinking? Yeah, I did that just today, actually. And it was this code base that I just wrote on Thursday. Anyway, all the time. DC Aggie says, Oracle is the worst technical part of my job. We used Oracle when I went to the first, I went to 2 temporary assignments that were each about 3 months each, 90 days. And I worked at the place that did Fast Class, which is the position description repository for all Department of the Army and Department of the Air Force civilian positions. And so I was writing some logic, some additional helpers for managers to be able to type in a position that, in natural language, type in a position that they wanted to hire for, that they wanted to fill. It would go out and find positions that have already been described, starting with their installation first. If none were on their installation, then other installations like theirs. And then if none were there, then all of Army. I was specifically focused on Army stuff. And then if it wasn't there, then the second set of time that I was there was a wizard, a walkthrough for creating a position description. This is the fully automated system for classification, except that we still have classification specialists who walk managers through, let's put the correct pay plan, series, and grade for this job, and a whole bunch of other descriptors for these jobs that they're looking for manually based off of regulation lookups. So the system that I added to this was you type in natural language what the position is you want. It took that, split it up into segments, and then turned each of those segments into duties, looked up each of those duties in the list, or in the what are they called? Are they regulations? Anyway, in the guides that say for, I don't know, 2100 series, which is the information technology series. If you have these duties, then it's at this grade level. If you have these duties, then it's at this higher grade level. If you do management type stuff, then it has the manager title. So it helped with classifying a position based off of just natural language, typing in words into the system. So that was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I didn't keep with that, so I am way out of practice with NLP, with it would be so much easier to do now. I want to remake it, but I don't work for them anymore, so I can't. Anyway, that was fun. I don't know how I got there. Oh yeah, okay, so that Fast Class has an Oracle backend, so I had to learn how to interact and use Oracle from an ASP Classic app. Which is now, obviously they're using .NET proper, but yeah. Okay, Oracle is the worst technical part of my job. All right, Famazan said, someone that graduated from my, someone that graduated from my school, his first new grad job also was modernizing legacy systems. So I always wondered how the process went. And what do you think of it? Is it something that interests you? Because it's my favorite thing to do. Like, even like greenfield projects, they sound like they would be amazing, but I struggle. Like, even with this app here, which is essentially a greenfield application for being able to transform Excel and CSV files into C# objects that you can manipulate within your code. I can do the whole, let's set everything up, let's ideate this out And then I get into the development process, it goes fast, and then I hit this point, inevitably hit this point that's like, I'm now moving through mud, and every step takes so much work. How did I get here? Why am I so stuck on this? So I like modernizing apps because I like taking existing code and making improvements on it, moving on to the next thing, optimizing that, making it cleaner, making it faster, adding functionality in small ways, and just, yeah, I love doing that. It's so enjoyable. Mars said, I never went to college. Everything I learned tinkering. Awesome. Yeah. Each of the 2iPi says, we had to make a prologue parser in one of my computer science classes. Did a minor. Yuck. President said, yeah, that's what launched me on my way. Tyron is here. Hello, Tyron. Tyron says, I failed my college classes too, even failed my C++ class. Lols. Ironically, I still became a dev and have been doing it for 26 years. Same. So same. Mine is a little bit behind you. It's 19 years. 16 years. So about 10 years behind you. E2i said, it taught me a lot about how databases work, database works, and how parsers work, which I feel is useful. Cool. I started modding out Call of Duty, says Mars. Someone that I used to work with was pushing me to mod Call of Duty because I graduated with a computer science degree, and I'm like, I know nothing about modding games. So then I looked at the code and I'm like, oh, this is just C. Sure, or C++ maybe. I can't remember which it was. This is just C++. Sure, I can start tweaking things a little bit, but I still didn't get it. I didn't know what I was doing. We did do a modded version of the Battleground that had zombies. I can't remember what it's called. But it was in Black Ops. That was the one that I was doing. Didn't get very far with it. Didn't enjoy it. I love Cursor now and being able to bounce ideas off the AI. Tyron says to Mars, who just said that. Oh, man, I skipped a whole bunch. Each of the 2iPi says, VB6, those were the days. Also QBasic. Yeah, I guess I did forget to mention that in middle school. I was taking some computer courses. There was this one that was teaching HTML, but in a weird way, you pretty much wrote a story. Actually, no, it was just my choice to do it this way. You were supposed to make some kind of HTML thing that had links that took you to other things. And I don't even know what the application was, but I think it was on a Mac or on an Apple. I don't think they were called Macs. I don't know. I don't remember these things. Anyway, there was this little window. You would type HTML in it. You'd connect it like with drawing a line to another one, and you put a link pretty much from this one to that one. And it was almost like a storyboarding app. I can't even remember. It was like this pale tan color thing. And so what I ended up doing with it is I love to write stories. I had always loved writing stories. So I wrote a story that was pretty much a choose your own adventure, and you would click on a link, it would take you to that section of the text. You'd make a decision, take you to the next section of the text. That was a lot of fun. But also in middle school, they had a QBasic course, and I loved music, still love music. In fact, I got back into music recently. And so what I did was I composed a piece of music that I played on 4 computers, started them all at the same time, and they played the notes for that song. It was a lot of fun. Can recommend. Nowadays, you can do it all from one computer with 4 QBasic terminals open, but still. I love Cursor now and being, oh yeah. I do that pretty much every time I look at code. Oh, so do you ever go back to code and yeah, happens all the time. So Cursor increased your speed by 10-fold. So yeah, that's one thing that I've almost always done. I used to only work with keyboard because when you're when you go to university and they're teaching you C++, you might have some kernel of Linux or of Unix that has a GUI, but most of the time they're just like, here's Vim, here's Cade, here's whatever else. You just type, you push keystrokes, and then you do everything with keyboard. Um, oh dear. So I got used to that and I liked it. But then it's like, every this is my personality coming through, of course. Everyone is like, how using only keyboard, using Vi or Vim is the cool kids way. And I'm like, I don't want to be part of this cool kids crew. I don't want to be viewed as someone that's trying to do something just because cool kids do it. So I'm going to get better at using keyboard and mouse. And so I found a very fast working workflow where you combine keyboard and mouse in a hopefully highly efficient way that just makes me a better, faster software developer. Because for me, not to be admired or praised or anything, but then I won't be confused as someone who's just trying to be a cool kid, because I am not a cool kid. In fact, I try to be the opposite of a cool kid. I try to be me. Anyway. Um, so DC Aggie is saying, yes, that's where I'm at. DC Aggie is saying elementary, basic on Vic 20, junior high. You're old. Basic on TI 81. Although I think the term junior high school is coming back, maybe. I don't know. I went to middle school. Yeah. From like 1990. What? I don't know. I can't do math. 1992, 93. 1993 to 1996. And then high school. Anyway. Okay. High school. Or junior high, basic on a TI 81. High school, Q basic on DOS. Turbo Pascal, C++, college, C++. Yeah. And so you've already started doing real software development or real programming languages much earlier than me. College, C++, professionally unclassified. PHP, .NET, several 4GL tools. Yeah, that was another thing that tripped me up. I had not picked a focus for the longest time when I was doing the computer science degree. That would have been a smarter thing to do, because I tried it all. I tried graphics design, game design, game development, operating systems, and operating systems. That's what almost made me quit university. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. I did not. I did not. So I ultimately landed on databases, and apparently I'm very data driven and very relational. And I enjoyed that part of it. So I went into enterprise systems, and yeah, that was fun. Started at the very beginning with Atari Basic. Says President Not Sure. Oh, and Dukasoft made his PHP bleh, vomiting duck. President Not Sure said, yeah, I started at the very beginning with Atari Basic. Didn't pick it up again for quite a few years later with Java applets via programming class, and then the VBA stuff I mentioned earlier. Yeah, and then there was also that I just had the name of it in my head. Flash. There was also Flash programming for a little bit in there somewhere. What's the thing that I'm thinking of? It starts with an S. Shockwave. Shockwave is what I'm thinking of. Oh. That made the pit of my stomach hurt. And then President Usher said, yeah, any HTML would have involved Macs. Were they called Macintosh at the time? I remember them being like this bubbly-ish, almost transparent monitor, or at least had a outer shell that was transparent. and it had this big bubbly apple symbol on the side. Okay, those were, yeah. From the 90s. Blah. I could smell it. No. Mars is saying Cursor is a VS Code branch with built-in AI chat and coder sections. I've been playing around with DeepSeek. Awesome. Cool. DC Aggie says, I'm glass people. Love Vim. I'm class of 2000. Guess who else is class of 2000? That's when I graduated high school. Absolutely. I love that though. I'm glass people. Love Vim, but my first install in Linux is almost always Joe. I'm trying to keep up. President Not Sure says junior high was 7th and 8th grade. We didn't have a middle school in my town. Yeah, so our middle school was 6th, 7th, and 8th. But now they have in my hometown, which I guess I can call it my hometown by now. I lived there for the longest. They have a something academy that is the 8th grade and 9th grade school. Yeah. Freshman Academy, which is a combination of 8th grade and 9th grade. Which is just very odd. But whatever works for them. Holy cow, that's a lot of chat. I will get caught up. I will not make comments on every single thing. Junior high was 7th and 8th grade. We didn't have middle school. Thindle says, I don't get why I should spend time relearning how to save a file because it's some 5-key series of commands. And it's okay. I mean, if you enjoy the challenge of learning a new tool, which is enjoyable to some people, absolutely do it. Especially if you get proficient at it, whatever your reasons may be. I used to get super bent out of shape for people having the reasons of, I want to be seen, I want to be popular. It has nothing to do with me. You do it for whatever reasons make you happy. Don't let me piss on your parade or whatever the phrase is. Where am I? Class of 2000, middle school had 6th through 8th. Yeah, that's how it was for us. But they really don't have that in my state as far as I know. Yeah, I don't think they have that in Kansas either anymore. I think it used to be a thing. They did away with that. It might be faster to navigate around files, etc., but honestly, typing stuff, navigating files faster isn't what's holding me back. And yes, full Macintosh. That's what I'm talking about. Apparently. Oh man. I will catch up on chat very shortly. So K through 6, 7 through 9, and 10 through 12 for us, and mine was K through 5, 6 through 8, 9 through 12. Well, the earliest Macintoshes were a tan case. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this would have been in 94, 95. Unless I did do that in high school, which would have been anywhere from 96 through 2000. And then Thindle says, a lot, all, Macs before that were pretty square and tan. Red says, think of 1984 for the real start of Macs after Apple II, Apple square brackets. Thindle said 110%. If people like it, use it. Definitely. Yeah. For whatever reason, it doesn't have to be because you think cool people use it and so you'll be a cool people who use it. It could just be something that you think you'll be faster. It could just be because you like it. It could be because of necessity. Who knows? Memolele is saying, hello, I'm a 4-year experienced Unity game dev and recently switched my career to back-end developer, which I learned ASP.NET Core. Yay. Is it possible to learn in 6 months and land a job? Up to you. As an INTJ, I am compelled to say it depends. Um, it is very, very subjective to your learning style, your experiences, what experience you already have with other types of technologies, how fast you personally learn. Is it possible? Yes, 100% possible. If you don't learn very quickly, putting in the effort, you can still do it. You just devote as much time as you can on it, focus on it, do it every day, even if it's just an hour a day, and you could do it. Absolutely can. As far as whether the job market is open to new developers, especially new developers that do not hold a piece of paper that says, I went through 4 years of BS, 4 or 5 years of BS, I guess, then I don't know, because I'm not in the job market, haven't been really in that kind of job market for a while. So I can't tell you that as far as landing a job, but you could learn it. You could learn it well enough. Absolutely. It may just take accepting some positions that aren't necessarily even software development. They might just be something adjacent to it. Like maybe you are the office automation assistant for a while, for 2 or 3 years. You just got to be willing to do what it takes to get to the position you want to be at. I would recommend not expecting it to happen right away, but you could also manifest it to happen right away. I'll leave it at that. Thindle says, but some people look down on people not using their preferred tool, and that's not very nice. I agree with you. And then Thindle was responding to Memolele. Why not? It's just APIs for web. You know the language and most of the SDK. President Not Sure says, the post-tan Macs were gray cases. Yeah, were any of them kind of like bubbly glass or plastic? And Core says, my first computer when I was about 20 was a Mac Classic. Our first family computer, well, was the Commodore 64. We had a Tandy with numbers. We had some Pentium computer. I'm sure we had a Gateway in there somewhere. Eventually stuck to Hewlett Packard. Lived with HP for a while. And yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And definitely correct me if I wasn't saying your name in the way that you want it said. 94 to 95 square tan cases with a monitor built in and had a floppy drive underneath, external keyboard. Yeah, like the ones that I'm thinking of were just like this, except probably a generation later where they weren't tan, they were white cases. I'm remembering this bubble-like quality to them. They had a built-in floppy drive, built-in display. External keyboard, I don't remember an external keyboard. And single button mouse. Definitely a single button mouse. DC Aggie sings, tan and square and fast and gooey. The Max from Cupertino. Cupertino? I wouldn't be able to sing that because I don't know it. Or I don't want to. That's the real reason. President Not Sure is saying the multicolored iMacs were after the gray ones and whatever color the Performas were. I actually still have a Mac clone from Power Computing. Digsaw says, Amiga hype. Rich says, you haven't experienced real pain until you code in classic ASP with just a text editor or notepad. It was the best of times. It was such good times. Not only that, the way that, like, I didn't know source control either, but the way that I was modifying the code, not only in Notepad, but also directly on the server. So when I was making changes to the app, it was getting pushed immediately, essentially. But they were using Tortoise SVN. I didn't know what that meant. So Thindle is adding me. Why are you adding me? Don't you know that I read? No, you're not adding me. You're just mentioning me. I'm kidding. Then I was saying to Memolele, since you know the language, you might want to start at the front-end dev. Is this a certification course or something at Microsoft Learn, essentially, for the tech that I am using, that OneLine is using. I can't seem to find any resources on server-side ASP.NET MVC on the official site anymore. Really? That's weird. I'd probably suggest trying out Razor Pages if you want to render things on a server. Definitely. These are great technologies to look at. Or just jump right into Blazor. Just go straight for Blazor. Dive in head first. Start on .NET 9 Blazor. Actually, that's a bad idea. If you're wanting to get a job in an industry that's already using .NET, most likely they're going to have legacy applications. They're going to have .NET Framework applications. They're going to have WinForms applications. They're going to have WPF applications if they're using .NET again. And maybe MVC, but very few places that are already in existence that are using .NET are going to be using Blazor, from what we have learned so far with everyone else that has been getting jobs. So Razor Pages, yeah, they might be using Razor Pages, I guess. So the difference between MVC and Razor Pages is the structure of the application. Again, these are all project templates that we're talking about. So Razor Page, ASP.NET Razor Pages versus the MVC project template, which has controllers, views, and models, folders specifically, and then an API, which it has a bunch of different ways that you can do APIs too. So I don't know. That's a tough one on where to start. Because I started with MVC. I didn't ever really learn Razor Pages. And thank you so much for the follow. But yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, sorry. Yes. I started with ASP Classic, Web Forms, and then I went to MVC. I went to MVC 3. Dukesoft didn't like it. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Okay, so now that I am at the bottom of chat, I am going to take a few minutes to focus on work. Feel free to continue typing and chatting if you want, but I'm just letting you know that I won't respond for a few minutes while I try to move on with my work. Okay, so what do we get done? We got done the portion where we are reloading any existing rules that the user has already mapped after they are opening the configuration window, which is a dialog pop-up. So I'm going to try to run the app again so that we can see where we're at. Oh, but I don't want to miss conversation from especially new people coming in. But Memolele is responding to Thindle saying, I'm developing an e-commerce API project nowadays and getting courses on Coursera and researching with Microsoft Learn. You're doing it right. You're doing it right. Definitely check out Thindle's stream if you get the chance. He works on e-commerce sites as well. So then Thindle is saying, after Dukesoft said, I skipped MVC, didn't like it. Thindle was saying, then I went back to web forms because MVC was poop back then. I really enjoyed it from the beginning. I loved it. Then I went back to MVC way too late. Read Memolele's comment. Thindle said, haven't really used Razor Pages. My feeling, no empirical proof of this, is that it's probably great for simpler applications, but once you hit a point, it makes more sense to use MVC. Again, feelings. It's an opinion. I don't disagree. Awesome, great way of doing it. Less than MVC 5 was buggy and slowness. MVC 5 suddenly did a full 180 and turned awesome. Yeah, like I said, I started in MVC 3 and I enjoyed it a lot. And that's when I got hooked on using .NET as my primary application framework ecosystem. Why didn't you run? Because I'm tired. It is running. It just didn't open the, oh, the app is already here. Get rid of all this. Okay. Awesome. Well, welcome in. We do also, if you're already a part of way too many Discords, don't worry about this, but we also have a newbie-friendly Discord community. It sounds like you aren't newbie per se, because you do have Unity experience, which means that you have C# experience most likely. I think that's what you said, right? Unity game dev. Yeah, 4 years in Unity game dev. That is a long time doing C#, so you have a lot of knowledge under your belt. But as far as web applications, desktop, and just application development in general, if you do have questions, feel free to ask in our Discord. Even if you just join the Discord for like 2 minutes to ask a question, see if you get an answer. You won't get berated for your questions there. That's the one thing that I'm kind of just pretty stickler about, is don't talk down to people if they ask a question. If you don't have an answer or you don't have anything constructive, just don't respond to them. So the worst that'll happen is you don't get a response, but at least it is a resource to ask questions. Maybe you want feedback on something you're working on. Fridays on our channel are community days, where we just spend 2 hours only paying attention to what you, the community, want to talk about. If that's your own projects, that's your own projects. If it's the side project that I happen to be working on, then it's that too. But it's whatever you want to talk about on Fridays. So feel free to join for that too. Thindle said, I started on MVC 1 and 2, and those were built on top of web forms. Slow was part of both worlds and full of bugs that would just halt the page. So I jumped ship and came back too late. Yeah, that postback was just terrible though. Postback in all of the .NET stuff. So of course, learning Ajax was super beneficial. And then Dukasoft said, my first website was Razor Pages, no tests, but I did not see it as simple. No tests. No text? Maybe. And then Thindle said to Dukasoft, but was it messy? Dukasoft said, of course it was. It was my first ever website, but it worked just as good as any professional site would have. True. Fridays are Thindle Love, aka Zelda Love. Okay, so we have our file loaded. We're going in here. Oh no, wait, we're loading an existing template. Going in here, editing this. And so what we just set up is, now that I see this, we're going to need to do it on load as well. Do the lookup timer on load as well. Not again. They shouldn't be timing out, man. It's not invalid. Do I have a period in there or something? Yeah, it shouldn't be invalid. It definitely opened my Discord. Each of the 2 I says it worked for him. Darun is in there, which I already said hi to. Last week. Whoops, sorry about that, Darun. Single page app from memory. Good job, you. Yeah, Ajax panels were the best. Let's see. Can I just, if I create a new invite link, would that override our existing one? Okay, so I'll just send you this one. It'll be valid for 7 days. That's funny. I push the copy button and it says hidden, use copy button. What did it copy? The text that says hidden, use copy button. That's hilarious. How am I supposed to do that? Oh man, good times. Server settings. Custom invite link. Streamer mode is enabled. I still want to see it. Now I've lost the page. Okay. Unlock with boosting. I'm not trying to do a custom link. I just want to see my existing invite links. Okay, so yes, invite code. Like if you can type in the invite code directly into Discord, it really should work. It never expires. It's still active. Is it possible that I somehow locked down the welcome room? Permissions. Everyone can view this channel. No, I didn't. All right, Thindle. So when you get into the Discord, you probably will have to select a role if you want to see any of the developer stuff. You can also see that there are other roles available. I have a music stream that I am doing as a hobby, so there's that. I like to talk about personality topics and a little bit more esoteric things than just personality topics nowadays. And by esoteric, I mean very specific to the spirituality community, but I'll do my best not to cross streams. And then there is also, I was like, what is this one with the poop? There is also a rant room, which is a place that you can use to rant about a situation or whatever that was really loud. A situation or whatever that has happened to you. Just try not to be attacking people. And the thing that I try to enforce in the rant channel is that you're allowed to rant. Do that. Use it as a safe place to say this terrible thing was annoying. And if you do happen to see someone else ranting in there, try not to tell them that other people have it worse, or try to make them see the lighter side of it. It's there so that you can rant freely. Because just by ranting, sometimes that makes it a little bit better for you. But hi, Draw Curiosity. Welcome in. Draw Curiosity is a fantastic science streamer. Draw Curiosity. Did I spell your name correctly? Please tell me I spelled your name correctly. Yes. So check out her streams. She streams pretty much on days that I stream too. So in about 45 minutes, maybe. Let me check out your channel. Not today though. Yeah, it's usually Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. Last week it was Tuesday, Thursday because of an eye appointment that she had. But this week, also not Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But yes, noon Mountain Time, which is UTC -7, which actually, sorry, one Mountain Time, which is UTC -7, which is 8 o'clock EST, CEST, whatever it's called, GMT, 8 o'clock GMT. But you went late yesterday. Well, regardless, check her out. She talks sciencey stuff, nerdy stuff, has a lot of interactability on her stream as well. I'm gonna call it Words with Friends because I'm old and I don't know the current names of the stream cooperative games. Anyway, entertaining times on her stream. I live in PST but go by MST, and my boyfriend works here for an office in EST. Things get very confusing. Oh, at least you have some concept of it. But thank you, Dukasoft, for the update, or for a new invite link that you can use for a little while, or that can be used for a little while. Kawaii. Awesome. Okay. One more step forward. So the next thing that I would like to do is the lookup for this, or stub out the methods for it, because we're not going to get any values back. This means we need a model for our response. We need, do we need a request model? We do need a request model as well. So let's go ahead and start with those, the models that we're going to use for this request. Where did I put the models? Here, I'm looking right at it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's get the lot reference request model. I think that's what we're calling it. So let's get a lot reference request model, and then we'll get a lot reference response model. I should have just created both of them at the same time. Lot reference response modelo. That model is going to also be a response model of lot reference model. Well, I don't know. We can just do it like this still. Okay. You are a public class, so you need a title. I mean, title, description, stop, because you're going to happen a lot. Lot, he says. A lot. Such a punny guy. Okay, so our request model is simply just going to have the public string lab crap, which is going to be a single value. Yes. The one that is not going to be a single value are all of our lot reference values. So we need to send back a list of lab lot reference or lot reference responses. Should I be calling this response model? Just response. And for our upload or our template, for example, yeah, so our upload response is a response model. Our template model is a template model. So let's make this just a lot reference model, like we're doing the user import template. Yes, please rename. So much talking, stream elements. Let everyone else talk. Jeez. My gosh. How rude. Hey, Automated Realms. Congratulate BitGamey on being first shatter in stream. Are you awake, Automated Realms? Please tell me you're awake. Oh dear. Why would I do this to myself? I ran into an issue. No, I was trying to establish some rapport. Thyrovius restarted. Why did you restart, Thyrovius? Okay, we're gonna go for about another 40 minutes and then I'll end the stream and then start the music stream at about 1:30. So it'll be 1 o'clock in 40 minutes, or 1:01, I guess. Okay, so we need this model. Model. How does one say model? It's gonna have, oh wait, this is the response model. This is the request model. We're gonna have the lab and we're going to have the list. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be, what is this gonna be? Is this gonna be the field mapping for lot? Which is the model field mapping model. And both of these are going to be required. And both of these are going to get comments. Okay. DC Aggie is saying, my new work laptop has arrived on campus. Now I need to drive 6 hours each way. They can't just mail it to you? Like, they kept trying to do that to me at the place that I was working. They're like, well, you can come pick up the whatever device it is that I'm trying to test on. And it's like, you're an hour and a half away. Which is not much compared to 6 hours, but still. You're an hour and a half away. I don't want to do this. Ever. Not even once. And they were just trying to get me to do it all the time. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good, thanks. It's the whole thing where if someone says that they really aren't wanting, or they don't like a certain thing, then you have to prove to them that they do like it. They just haven't tried it the right way. It's like, no, I'm pretty sure that I don't need to be tested in that. Thanks, though. I am trying to reload the model. DC Aggie is saying, I have to pick it up from purchasing, walk to help desk and explain to them I can't use the default image for software development, wait most of a week for them to manually set it up. Then I can drive it back to Nevada. Yes, I have had experiences like this before working in federal service. Kind of sounds like the education system is the same. Thanks for not saying Nevada. It's Nevada. Just like that. Duke Soft was saying, is it on purpose Stream Elements uses a Discord invite link that a different invite link than Automated Realms? It's kind of on purpose. That one does also still work. It never expires. Since it worked, I was like, I don't feel like updating it. It was easier for me to just update automated realms because, you know, go into the database, update it instead of going to a website, finding where the automated things are. Yeah. I mean, if you feel like it, I don't remember if you actually have admin to stream elements, but if you feel like making them the same, you can, for sure. I'm just too lazy. Such a lazy. All right. The question that I have for me is, do I also, with this field mapping, need to send the list of values? So I need the field mapping because I need a way for the application to know how to go from the lot that was assigned back to the original field. Sorry if that was loud. I saw some dust on my microphone and I was like, get that off. Can't have that now, can we? I have so much dust in here. Okay. We'll just go with this for now. We can always add the list of values if we need to. But that means that our response is going to give us back the combination of the lot reference value Yeah, okay. Value map. Can I use a value map? Lot lookup. I don't know. We're just going to go with this for now. I'll rename it later. Probably to something Dukasoft. Dukasoft says I probably could, but might as well leave it if you don't mind. I was just curious. You're allowed to be. And I will default this to an empty collection. That way it's never null. Okay. Is it 1 o'clock? Is that what's happening? Oh, it's 12:30. I am slowing down. It was a really, really engaging conversation with you guys, and now that I'm back to focusing on work, I'm like, let's get back to the conversation. Those were good times, weren't they? Okay. We got our lot reference model, and this is going to be the thing. You know what? We will make it a list of value map. Is that what I want to do? We probably don't even need this anymore. If I'm just going to use a list of value map as my response, I think we don't need this. Let's see what happens. Let's keep running. Running. Let's create the stub for the method call. And that is somewhere. Server. No, it's in models. It's in... Dude, where are my services? They're here. Abstractions. Okay, we need a request task of value list of value map get lot lookup. and we're going to pass to it the lot reference request model and the cancellation token. DC Aggie is saying, wish I hadn't brought up thrashing. Now I can't stop thinking about Gen X skater boys. Do that on your own time. We're at work. Yes, DC Aggie. Innuendos and all. What is this? What are we doing? We're trying to get lot lookup. And our request is the lot reference request. And Dukasoft is over here singing. I'm assuming you're singing. Oh dearie. Okay. So now let's go implement these. On the client side, it's going to be duper super easy. It's just a HTTP request to some endpoint that doesn't exist yet, but we're just going to go in order. So here we're just going to tell it to stub it out for us. I'm already in the music mood. Hopefully the stream works today. I'm not going to switch profiles, but if the stream just freezes again, like last time, it took away my entire music time. I don't want that. I don't want streams to be an extra burden. I want them to be a tool that I can use for getting better at this, getting better at the hobby. Oh, wait. Do post API lot lookup. Sure, that's a good name for it. So if we're going to continue, what don't you like about this? You cannot use a list of value map for T response model. Oh, right, because you should be a response model of. Didn't I do that in the interface? Whoops. Is it because it's reading all the music files from the network? I think network overload. It's a good thought. It's a good thought, but the only one that is accessing the everything is local to this computer is what I'm trying to say. But what did happen is that I mapped the image line folder that has all of the VSTs, that has all of the samples and stuff, to that other profile. So it is possible that it's still trying to treat it as a network mapping, because I mapped to / ngdrs / share name. So yeah, entirely possible. So now we're just going to stay on this profile. And the only issue is that I'm using a portable OBS for the second profile. And I don't know how it's going to act. Okay. Updated. client is just doing a do post. To this API endpoint, here's the request, here's the error message to tag on if there is an error, and then the cancellation token gets forwarded as well, which we are going to be using a lot of. So now the next step is on the server. In the server, we need the API endpoint for interesting. Very interesting. Where are all of these other endpoints? So like field mapping templates, is that really in here? It is. Okay. Yeah, I'm still gonna put this in lab data then. Lab data / lot lookup. Because it is part of lab data. It belongs here. Not just because I'm lazy, but because it belongs here. Damn it. Okay, so we're doing lab data post lot lookup. And this is the lot lookup endpoint. It belongs here because I said so. Didn't even know portable OBS was a thing. Yeah, it's a way that you can launch OBS, multiple instances of OBS with their own sets of settings, scenes and stuff. And I already set that up, and that's cool and all, but I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of issues. Like I tried to pull over the scene collection from the other profile, but I don't think it pulled over all of my audio mappings. So I might have to go through the entire process of getting Fruity Loops to play through on stream again. It was a whole ordeal. I did not enjoy that part of it. But I do actually have things to do now on stream, and I think it's going to be fun. I hope it's going to be fun. And of course, the thing that I really, really hope for is that someday in the future, someone is going to come into the stream and be like, you know, here's another way that you can do that. And I'll be like, oh, show me. Please. Okay, so the thing that we are handling is the lot reference request model. Oh, that's not going to work because you are a response model of list of value map. Music community. Yeah, essentially. Yeah. I mean, it's a much, much more loose and laid back. Why did that just create a new? No. Use? Don't you have a reference to models? Oh my goodness, if only I could type. Okay. So this is fast endpoints. I'm still not the most convinced that it's really what I like to use. It would be just as easy for me to use an API controller project type, because this is still kind of the same thing. It just feels like more code. Yeah. Okay, so we're forwarding the request. Yeah, if we're on client, what we're doing is we are doing a HTTP request to the server API. The API is taking that request and forwarding it to get lookup. The one thing that this is doing ahead of time is making sure that the user is a valid logged in user that is authorized to make this kind of request. And that authorization comes from this attribute here saying you must be in a role called shared data import. If you aren't in this role, you're not allowed to do this. Okay, now we need the server-side implementation, which is going to be here in services. And we'll just tell this thing to stub it out. Keep saying stub. This is all the way down here. Okay. This is going to be set up in very much the same way as the rest of them. We set up our response model, and at the very end, regardless of what happens, we return that response model. In the middle, oh, and it's going to be asynchronous eventually. I would still use the full controller way, just because I feel it's cleaner in my head. Yeah, I mean, I don't see the performance issues, let's say. If fast endpoints is a way to resolve performance issues, I mean, it's called fast. I honestly don't know what fast endpoints is intended to do. Like what things is it making fast? Is it setting up the actual API? Because for me, my API would look like this. Controllers, and I would have a lab data controller. This would inherit from API controller, or just controller. We'll just do controller for now, because lazy. And I would have my attributes up here for route controller, API controller, and authorize attribute. And every single one of my controller methods would be HTTP post, and let's say it's field mapping templates post. It would literally be public async task of whatever my response model is supposed to be. Get field mapping templates, and whatever the thingies are supposed to be, the parameters are supposed to be for this, and it would just forward it to my service and return the response. That's all it is. That's all my controllers do. Every single one of the methods is just forward the request to the server. The end. So having this additional setup, like I guess I would still have a constructor that gives me a lab data service. Sure. But then, like, I could do this in the same controller. It looks like the same amount of code to me. I don't know. Fast endpoints is used for making it easier and cleaner minimal API setup. Again, it looks the same to me. They call me CTOR. I build instances. If you don't know what DCIE is talking about, instead of using a primary constructor, I could have used a regular constructor, and the code snippet for it is CTOR. Type CTOR, hit tab, you have your constructor. I just updated Visual Studio today. Did you see that? There has been an issue, an ongoing issue with the latest versions of Visual Studio where it has been ignoring your refactor preference for using an underscore private field. Oops, I just hit Control/. When I did the refactor request, it's now saying create and assign field whatever I put for my rule for private read-only fields, which is underscore camel case. It's back. How many releases was this? My goodness. Well, do your update to 14.3.1. Is that where we're at now? I thought you could see the version. Oh, 17.13.1. Yeah, didn't you see me use it earlier? I was just showing the code snippet for making a constructor. So when I created this, I actually just put it up here. Maybe you were looking away. That's totally okay. Totally okay. Totally okay. But yes, for something as simple as that, I'm okay with just using primary constructor. The ones that are kind of difficult for me to want to do are primary constructors that have a base call, a call to the base abstract class constructor. They work just fine. Less code. I still find it more difficult because this now looks like any local field. So if I'm in code and I'm using it, it looks like any other variable. What is our upsert template request? No. Yeah. And if I rename this to request, then the coloring of this looks just like the coloring of I'll just go the whole way. Cancellation token CT equals default CT. So this looks just like any other field. And I don't know that it's global to this class. I don't know that it's a global field unless I tell this thing to name it underscore. And when I name it underscore, it looks weird being a constructor parameter. And it's like, no, I don't know. I won't mention at all the Nick Chaps' interview with Mads. Yeah, in this case, it's a required service. So if it's null, I want errors, I want exceptions. But there is a way to do this so that we can just get the service provider and ask for this service, ask for this dependency. And if it's null, we don't use it. But yeah. So that should be a thing. I'm okay with it. But I can definitely see where it's like, you're not actually doing a null check on the injected service. But that's because it will throw an exception when you use it in a constructor like this, where it is required. Okay, regardless, that's how I would still want to do my controllers, but I wanted to give fast endpoints a try, and I'm just not finding any benefit to it at the moment, compared to my usual approach. That said, I will continue using it for this app since we already went that direction. But like right now, I just set up another endpoint and it feels like more code when I could have just put it in the exact same controller with just a new method. private read-only ifoo underscore foo equals foo. Yeah. So Tyron does go ahead, even with primary constructors, and map it to a private field, private read-only. Yeah. I mean, it's still one less line of code. Or I guess 4 less lines of code. The constructor stub, the method declaration, the curly brace, the assignment close curly brace. Yeah. So that's what this would be. Primary constructor removed 4 lines of code. Totally okay. Totally acceptable. Oh, yeah. That's the other thing, though. The comments, when you do the refactor, the comments for the constructor go up on the class. And I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it's not like I'm purposefully writing these comments in a meaningful, helpful way. Currently, this just says creates a new instance for the constructor and then describes what the parameter is, which you can do just fine up on the class itself. But it just looks odd to me, which is not a reason to not use it. Of course, I'm definitely not saying that. It's just odd. That's all. Okay, we are on the server and we're implementing the get lot lookup. We don't have a table for it yet, but we can fake it at least for now until we create the table. Dang it. I do want to do the database portion of this, the migration to add the new table. And the entire pipeline thing, that might take more than 8 minutes. And I want to end the stream in 8 to 20 minutes. I don't know. We'll find out. No. You are the implementation. You can simply inherit doc. We've already documented this method. There is only madness. Okay, so we know that we're going to want a connection to the database. We want the DB context. Context equals await. DB context factory, specifically the data template context factory. Create DB context. For me, it's all about, this is Dukasoft saying this, for me, it's all about making it more readable for myself since I work in a one-person group. Yes, it does sound a little selfish. It doesn't sound selfish to me at all. I do that as well. However, I can't help myself but think of what if another developer takes over this code base. And also, can I keep writing in a way as if I'm working on a team? It's a compulsion. DC Aggie is saying, hot take. Comments, especially comments that aren't strictly necessary, are a rake that will eventually be stepped on unless your code is never changed in a way that will make your comments a lie. Oh dear, that is a good take though. That is a good take. And you're not wrong. But that also is more like, is it just something that'll slow you down and make you actually think about it? Think about what you're doing? Because it could be a tool as well. Like rakes are also tools. So checking for a rake first might be part of your workflow. Comments that mislead are worse than a lack of comments necessitating a reading of the code. True. The code can lie too when naming isn't updated. Yes. All of these are great. So they might not be hot takes though. They might just be they might just be truisms. And hello, Snubble. I've been lurking. Missed you on Friday. If you do feel like it, oh man, I don't have time. If you feel like sharing the link to your 4K, it was 4 kilobit, right? Or kilobyte? Kilobyte or kilobit? Anyway, it was your 4K game that you won the award for. Lie in the comments is #1 tip to write unmaintainable code. True. Yes, these are all truisms. President Not Sure is saying, yeah, I spotted a comment situation like that in a recent code review because DC Aggie said, to do is my favorite and most used comment. I'm not going to say it's mine. Yeah, so 4 kilobyte Tetris game. Oh, no, that's not the one that I was asking about. You were going to share something with us last Wednesday, and I was like, I'm in the middle of work, because I still am. And you had won a contest of some sort with a team, I think. So if you want to share it, what I'll do is on Wednesday, when I have more time, I will share it since you weren't able to make it to Friday's stream. But I do remember seeing your Tetris game. That's really cool. The Tetris movie on Apple TV is pretty good. Plus it stars the guy from Kingsman, and he's hot. He's hot. Okay, so it is a 1 kilobit demo, and it's probably short, isn't it? Yeah, it's short. Okay, does it have sound? Okay, let's get this browser. And what I'll do is I'll just play it and keep working on the server implementation. And I'll also get some adverts. Okay. Can you also remind us what exactly this was?
This
Very
is how to
bad.
get in shape fast.
If you want to drop
This
this,
is
don't
how
need any more
to
of these.
not find your map. I mean, your mouse. I love carrots. Is that what you're eating? I love carrots. Okay, so what you just witnessed, what you just experienced is a, hold on. I was trying to do this smoothly, but I couldn't think of what I was doing. Is a 1024 demo that shows graphics and music. There's a space theme to it, and fitting that into 1024 bytes is bonkers, says Dukasoft. Kind of an ambient feel to it. I turned the music up way too loud. I got excited. So yes, that's what we just saw. And he provided a link to the full source on GitHub. Okay, all that I did while I was off screen was updated the name of this property. I named it lot before, so I updated it to lot field mapping because that's what it is. We're going to see if we have all of the values by this point to apply it and get back all of the values to look up in the database. This is where we need to perform the step of doing the lookup between the lot value and if lab with the lot value if it appears in the database. And we need to return a new, no, we're going to return a lot field mapping, nope, lot values dot select new value map from our found value. Did I call them? Okay, from our from value, which is the value that we got back from doing the field mapping for a given value that was passed to us. And we're going to value. For now, we're just going to put TBD because TBD Gamer is amazing, obviously, because it's going to be assigned imported field name. Right. It's going to be, dang it. Okay, so what we're going to do is if we find a value back for given X, then we will put that here. Otherwise, we will output TBD, indicating that this will be assigned when you try to do an upload. And this is complaining because we need to list it. Okay, so this should work. We just need to set up the actual call to this. And you want us to use the collection expression. Yeah. It doesn't look any better to me. But also it's supposed to be the most performant way of doing whatever kind of collection materialization to my return type possible. So whatever, sure, do it, make it happen. So the only thing missing is our database table for this lookup to happen. To do that, we need to head over to the actual database project. And that is this one here. And I think I already have a branch started for it. And hopefully, because I'm wanting to wrap up the stream, I won't second guess myself too much. We'll just do it. We'll just get it done. As my shoulders start creeping up more and more as I think about doing it that way. Okay, we are on a branch called conditional value transform. Crap. Question my dad recently asked me, what is a stream? Well, it is a flowing, usually gently flowing volume of water through a narrow passage. Sometimes not as narrow, but it's definitely less narrow than a river. Okay, good, good. It looks like this has already been merged. We have updated to latest commit, and we have no other remotes, which means that it is a clean, brand new branch that we can make. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So we're going to create a new branch. We're going to call this task, whatever we're currently working on, since it's going to be associated with 544. Lot lookup, lot ref lookup table. We're going to create a table called lot reference lookup. Again, I'm just running through this without thinking too hard about it. Lot reference lookup. Do the thing. We'll make it a public partial because Entity Framework tends to like public partial entities more. I still don't know if this is a thing or if I just made it up, but I totally thought that when we were scaffolding code first, or when we were reverse engineering databases, existing databases into a code first project, code first entity framework, that it created the classes as partial classes, and that there's something special that happens with the classes when you add them as a DB set, which we're going to do now. Okay, here's it imported. Okay, so we just added the table, the entity, to our database. Where are you angry suddenly? Oh, probably because it needs to rebuild. The things that this is going to have are an auto ID, the lab, I'm still trying to decide whether I want the field mapping itself or a single field. Like, do I want to allow the user to make a field mapping? Man, I kind of do. I need this to be in the same way that I have it in user import templates. Yeah, okay, so a single field mapping. Oops, I did that backwards. Don't mind me. No, you're so doing this wrong. I need an int field mapping ID, and then the actual navigation property, public virtual field mapping. And finally, public string lot reference value. And I don't know what to call this. I'm just showing all of this now so that I can at least show it on stream, but I'm going to clean it up afterwards. I'm going to add comments, add the allow null values, or maybe required. I'm going to add the required. I'll just do that now. Generated lot. And I'll rename these most likely tomorrow morning. So essentially all of these are required fields. Our ID just gets a comment, you get a comment, and you, senior required field, get the required. And by adding the required keyword on here means that when we instantiate a new lot reference lookup, we need the lab value specified, provided. Like every single time I want to do a database migration on stream, it's like I find a reason to delay it and do it off stream. So I wanted to at least get this thing set up so that you could see that portion of it. Again, these two are not primitives. They are primitives, but they're not primitives. So we need the required. Okay, and finally, the field mapping. Dang it. I don't want to make it required either. I don't want to make it nullable, but it's not always going to be queried for. I think we'll keep it nullable for now. Okay, just so we can get through this. My next steps are to, I am going to do a mini commit, a local commit for added lot reference lookup. And I guess, oh, one more thing to do is to configure the relationship. So I do like to use Fluent API with my entity framework DB context. I don't understand why I already answered that question. Asked and answered. It's because it probably needs to rebuild to see the symbols from my most recent pull. Visual Studio has been doing a worse job at the compiler seeing the new symbols and resolving them in the editor when they've been added between you starting work on it and then doing a pull or switching to another branch. It's really annoying. But anyway, we need to configure model builder dot entity lot reference to table and then configure the one-to-one relationship. Oh, and the indexes. Thank you for reminding me, Copilot. We need a unique index that is comprised of the lab and the lot generated lot. Those have to be unique. There was the other one that I wanted to do, which is the unique index of lab. I mean, that would be covered by there. How did you learn entity framework and databases? I did it a lot. I said close to the top of the stream that we had 8, I think we came to 8 or 9 web applications and a few desktop applications that all needed to go from Java to Microsoft technology. And I decided to use entity framework to convert all of or to do the database related stuff. And I found ways to optimize the queries before it got even better, and Entity Framework Core came out with all of these amazing tools that do that for you. Yeah, so just using it a lot is my answer. Kind of the same way that I learned just about everything else. Doing it a lot, experimenting, playing around. It is vast, but if you just keep playing, and like the other thing that I like to do is keep a sense of playfulness with it, because it makes it even more enjoyable. So when I find a gem of someone saying, hey, try it this way, and then I try it that way, and it's like, man, that was amazing. It feels really, really good. It's a really nice thing. Anyway, I need to do this relationship has foreign key. What am I looking for? As one, after Gilgamesh is sitting here complimenting me on my use of Entity Framework, I completely forgot how to do navigation property mapping. Right, and here I do usually use E. So it has one field mapping with one, or with many. Lot references. Lot reference lookups. Okay, so that means that I also need a property, a navigation property in field mapping. That is going to be the other side of the mapping, which is public virtual I collection of lot reference lookup. Call it lot reference lookups. Get set equals initialized to a new collection. Okay, so it looks like I am doing the allow null when I have a required navigation property, foreign key, non-nullable foreign key. Okay. Has foreign key, E arrows E dot field mapping ID. And because of the naming that I used, everything should have gotten automatically mapped by Entity Framework just because I used the name field mapping and field mapping ID. It knows that these properties, that this would be the foreign key for this navigation property without me needing to explicitly state it in my Fluent API, nor needing to use data annotations. So we wouldn't have to do this either. But those are options. I just like having it explicitly stated. Again, it has me slow down. It has me make sure that I know that the updates that I'm doing are what I'm intending. Okay, and then on delete will cascade. Cascade, no, we can client set null. Why not? And then we'll get errors all over the place because we don't want to allow deleting of a field mapping because it will affect the lot reference lookup. Although field mappings are for user templates specifically. Kerfuffle. So a field mapping cannot exist without a template. However, the lot reference is actually a field mapping from that template. So let me write this down. The field mapping in the lot reference lookup process should be the field mapping from a user template, which means we might not be able to track the lot lookup without a user import template. Okay, that's going to be a little bit more difficult. It's starting to make me question whether we need this field mapping here, and instead we just don't even use the field mapping in the lookup reference. Okay, regardless, let's just say that we went with this, even though I'm going to undo a lot of it. We added the lot reference lookup model. The next step that we would do, the reason that I did a commit is so I can undo this a little bit easier, is create the migration. So in my handy dandy little package manager console, we're going to have it use my migrations project, which is just a plain old ASP.NET Razor Pages web app. It's just easier to configure for using a DB context. And that's really all that I use it for. So it's there for the migration. We make sure that it's set as our startup project, as well as selected in the package manager console, otherwise errors. Then in package manager console, add migration, lab, lot, reference, table, whatever we want to call it, generates the migration for us. And in the up step, it's going to create the new table, add the indexes. In the down step, it's going to simply delete the table, drop the table. All right, and that is a migration. And then I would make sure that it has everything that I want. I would do the update database to the dev database, test things out. Yeah, it'd still be difficult without a NuGet package. Then I would commit this. I would do a PR to commit this. That would generate the test NuGet package. I'd import that NuGet package into this application. Update my NuGet package reference, to that DB context, test it out, make sure it works, do the migration on the test database, publish my changes, do the migration on the production database when I'm ready to publish the app to production. Simple as that, yeah? Great. Okay, so that was a whirlwind tour of the way that I handle migrations and do migrations. I'm most likely going to undo this because, again, that the consideration of needing a user import template for a field mapping to even exist would be kind of difficult to do when I am providing a random field mapping model that might not be associated with a template to this process of looking up a lab lot. Okay, but that's going to be it for my time. I'm going to do my time card and then clean up. No, I'm not even going to clean that up. I'm going to leave this in the state that it's in so that I can pick it up again tomorrow morning. But that's the end of my workday. I'll do my time card and then I'll start the music stream in 10, 15, at the latest 45 after the hour. So, as in after this hour that we're in. So 22 minutes at the latest, I guess. But we are going to raid out to a developer. An easy one to reach for. Irish John Games is a game developer working on Rise of Piracy. You all know him. You all love him. He does use language. If you don't appreciate language, might not want to. What? Is it 2 hours? Did the... My bot died again, apparently. Anyway, just look at Dukasoft's link. Add. Okay, but we'll enjoy our time over there. I will start the music stream, like I said, 20 minutes or so. Not expecting you to want to see someone struggling at making music or even setting up a stream is most likely what's going to happen. But you are definitely welcome to join One Line Creative Stream. All of the streams get posted to YouTube after the stream. So if you want to rewatch the VOD, you're welcome to do so there. And whatever the last thing is, Discord maybe? Feel free to join our Discord if you haven't already. It's a quiet place, enjoyable place to be. Make sure to join the roles that you are interested in participating in. Stream elements posts. That was awesome. Okay, ciao for now. My timer is counting down. Bye.